Self-sabotage comes from belief systems. What you believe about your life is what you will make true about your life. That's why it's so crucial to be aware of these outdated narratives and have the courage to change them. Maybe you have gone through the majority of your life believing that a standard 50K per year salary at a decent company is the most you'll ever be capable of. Maybe you've spent so many years telling yourself, I am an anxious person. You started to actually identify with it, adapting anxiety and fear into your belief system about who you fundamentally are. Maybe you were raised in a close-minded social circle or an echo chamber. Maybe you didn't know that you could question or arrive at new conclusions about politics or religion. Maybe you never thought you were someone who could have great style, feel content, or travel the world. In other cases, your limiting beliefs might come from wanting to keep yourself safe. Maybe that's why you prefer the comfort of what you've known to the vulnerability of what you don't, why you prefer apathy to excitement, think that suffering makes you more worthy, or believe that for every good thing in life, there must also be accompanying bad. To truly heal, you're going to have to change the way you think. You're going to have to become very conscious of negative and false beliefs and start shifting to mindset that actually serves you. How to get out of denial. Maybe this preliminary information about self-sabotage resonates a bit, or maybe it resonates a lot. Either way, if you're here because you truly want to change your life, you're going to have to stop being in denial about your personal state of affairs. You are going to have to get real. You are going to have to get real with yourself. You are going to have to decide that you love yourself too much to stop settling for less than what you really deserve. If you think that you could be doing better in life, you might be right. If you think that there is more that you are here to accomplish, you might be right. If you think that you are not being your authentic, if you think that you are not being authentic, if you think that you are not being authentic, if you think that you are not being authentic self, you might be right. It does not serve us to use endless affirmations to placate our true feelings about where we are in our journey. When we do this, we start dissociating and get stuck. In an effort to love ourselves, we try to validate everything about who we are. Yet those warm sentiments never quite seem to stick, only ever temporarily numbing the discomfort. Why don't they work? Why don't they work? Because deep down, we know we are not quite being who we want to be, and until we accept this, we are never going to find peace. When we are in denial, we tend to go into blame mode. We look for anyone or anything to explain why we are the way we are. Then we start justifying. If you have to constantly, on a near daily basis, rationalize why you're unhappy about your life, you are not doing yourself any favors. You are not getting any closer to creating the lasting change that you so deeply desire. The first step in healing anything is taking full accountability. It is no longer being in denial about the honest truth of your life and yourself. It does not matter what your life looks like on the outside. It is how you feel about it on the inside. It is not okay to be constantly stressed, panicked, and unhappy. Something is wrong, and the longer you try to love yourself and of realizing this, the longer you are going to suffer. The greatest act of self-love is to no longer accept a life you are unhappy with. It is to be able to state the problem plainly in a straightforward manner. That is precisely that you need to do continue truly uprooting your life and transforming it. It is the first step towards real change. Take a piece of paper and a pen and write down everything you aren't happy with. Write down very specifically every single problem you face. If you're struggling with finances, you need a very clear picture of what's wrong. Write down every debt, every bill, every asset, and every bit of income. If you're struggling with self-image, write down exactly what you dislike about yourself. If it is anxiety, write down everything that bothers or upsets you. You must first and foremost get out of denial and into clarity about what's really wrong. At this point, you have a choice. You can make peace or you can commit to changing. The lingering is what is keeping you stuck. The path begins right now where you are. If you know that change needs to be made in your life, it is okay if you are far away from your goal or if you cannot yet conceive how you will arrive. It is okay if you are starting at the beginning. It is okay if you are at the rock bottom and cannot yet see your way through. It is okay if you are at the foot of your mountain and have failed every time you've tried to overcome it. Rock bottom is very often where we begin on our healing journey. This is not because we suddenly see the light, not because our worst days are magically transmuted into some type of epiphany, and not because someone saves us from our own madness. Rock bottom becomes a turning point because it is only at that point that most people think, I never want to feel this way again. That thought is not just an idea. It is a declaration and a resolution. It is one of the most life-changing things you can ever experience. It becomes the foundation upon which you build everything else. When you decide you truly do not ever want to feel a certain way, you set out on a journey of self-awareness, learning, and growth that has you radically reinvent who you are. In that moment, fault becomes irrelevant. You're no longer mulling over who did what or how you've been wronged. In that moment, only one thing guides you, and it is this. No matter what it takes, I will never accept my life getting to this point again. Rock bottom isn't a bad day. It doesn't happen by chance. We only arrive at rock bottom when our habits begin to compound upon one another, when our coping mechanisms have spiraled so out of control that we can no longer resist the feelings we are attempting to hide. Rock bottom is when we are finally faced with ourselves, when everything has gone so wrong, we are left to realize that there is only one common denominator through it all. We must heal. We must change. We must choose to turn around so that we will never feel this way again. When we have a down day, we don't think, I never want to feel this way again. Why? Because it is not fun, but it is also not unbearable. Mostly, though, we are somewhat aware that small failures are a regular part of life. We are imperfect, but trying our best, and that vague discomfort will pass eventually. We don't reach a breaking point because one or two things go wrong. We reach a breaking point when we finally accept that the problem isn't how the world is, it is how we are. This is a beautiful reckoning to have. Ayodaji Awosika describes his own like this. You must find the purest form of being fed up. Being fed up. Make it hurt. I literally screamed, I'm not going to fucking live like this anymore. Human beings are guided by comfort. They stay close to what feels familiar and reject what doesn't, even if it's objectively better for them. Be this as it is, most people do not actually change their lives until the changing comes the best comfortable option. This means that they do not actually embrace the difficulty of altering their habits until they simply do not have another choice. Staying where they are is not viable. They can no longer even pretend that it's desirable in any way. They are, quite honestly, less at rock bottom and more stuck between a rock that's impinging on them and an arduous climb out from beneath it. If you truly want to change your life, let yourself be consumed with rage, not toward others, not with the world, but within yourself. Get angry, determined, and allow yourself to develop tunnel vision with one thing, and one thing only at the end, that you will not go on as you are. Preparing for radical change. One of the biggest reasons that people avoid doing important internal work is that they recognize if they heal themselves, their lives will change, sometimes drastically. If they come to terms with how unhappy they are, it means that they will have to temporarily be uncomfortable, ashamed, or scared while they start all over. Let's be clear about something. To put an end to your self-sabotaging behavior absolutely means that change is on the horizon. Your new life is going to cost your old one. It's going to cost you your comfort zone and your sense of direction. It's going to cost you relationships and friends. It's going to cost you being liked and understood. It doesn't matter. The people who are meant for you are going to meet you on the other side. You're going to build a new comfort zone around the things that actually move you forward. Instead of being liked, you're going to be loved. Instead of being understood, you're going to be seen. All you're going to lose is what was built for a person you no longer are. Remaining attached to your old life is the first and final act of sabotage, and releasing it is what we must prepare for to truly be willing to see real change.